In this video, we're going to cover how to factor trinomials where a equals 1, trinomials where a is not equal to 1, and grouping. So first let's start with simple trinomials where you have a is equal to 1. That means that leading coefficient is a 1. So what you want to do is take the c value, so the 8, and you want to find factors that will multiply to give you 8. And they'll also add to give you the middle term, the b value, which is -6 in this case. So we need to multiply to get 8 and add up to -6. So the numbers we need are -2 times -4, because -2 plus -4 would help us to add to get -6. And then we just need to write the factors out. So if we had -2 and -4, we just need to write those with x minus 2 and x minus 4. All right, so let's look at another one. Again, a is equal to 1, so we just have to figure out what would multiply to give us that c value of -24 and what is going to add to give us 2. So I'm just going to write this setup a little differently because you can write this out in different ways to still figure out what you need. So if we need to multiply to get -24, I'm going to put multiply with m and add with an a. Let's think of what would multiply to give us -4. So we have 1 times -24, but then those would definitely not add up to give us 2. And then we have 2 times -12. Then those still don't add up to give us 2. And then we have 3 times -8. But those don't add up to 2. We have 4 times -6. So those would add. 4 plus -6 would give us -2, so we're close. We just need to change the sign so it's -4 times +6, because -4 plus +6 would give us 2. So we figure out the right factors, and then you can just write them out. So x minus 4, x plus 6 was the right combination. All right, let's take a look at when a is not equal to 1. So when a is not equal to 1, like in this case, a was equal to 3. We need to take the a and multiply it by the c and get 3 times 4, which is 12. So we have to multiply to equal 12, and we still need to add to get the b value in the middle, which was -8. So then we still figure out factors that will multiply to give us 12, add up to -8. So you can think of numbers like 1 times 12, but those won't add up to -8. 2 times 6 would work, but you just need them both to be negative so that they add to be -8. And then to write them out, you want to put the first term, so 3x squared, and the last term, the 4, stay the same. And then you want to write the two numbers out as -2x minus 6x, because -8x is equivalent to -2x minus 6x. So we haven't changed what we're given, we just changed the way it's written so that we could factor it. And so now we want to use grouping to finish this problem. So let's group the first two terms and group the last two terms and take out the greatest common factor from each group. So in my first group of terms, I could take out an x, and I would have 3x minus 2 left over. And in the second group, I need to take out a -2, and then I have 3x minus 2 left over again. And then you want to take the terms that you took out, those greatest common factors, and you want to write that as one of your factors. So put x minus 2 together. And then the matching factors, the 3x minus 2, you only want to write that one time. And so my factors are x minus 2 and 3x minus 2. All right, so let's look at another example. We have 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. So first multiply the a times the c, and we get 10. So we need to multiply to get 10, and we need to add up to get 11. So 1 times 10 does add up to 11. So that one works out pretty quick with the factors. But let's work this one out with a box this time. So I'm going to use the box method to factor the rest of the problem. So put, again, your first term stays the same. Put it inside the box, the 2x squared. And then put the last term, that positive 5, in the bottom right box. And then those two numbers that you figured out added up to 11, the 1 plus 10, you're going to put those in the other two boxes. It doesn't matter which one you put in which box. So let's put 1x and 10x, one in each box. And then to do factoring with the box method, you want to now take out the greatest common factor. I'm going to use some colors. So like in the greatest common factor of this first column, for example, would be 2x. And you want to write that at the top of the column. And then you have the greatest common factor of the second column. So you have 1x and 5. The only common factor you could take out there is a positive 1. And then you want to do the same thing for the rows. So think of what could I take out of 2x squared and 1x. And that would just be x. And then you want to take out the greatest common factor of the last row. So 10x and 5, I could take out a positive 5. And so what you have now are your factors. They are at the top of the box and they're on the side of the box. And so you could just write out x plus 5 and 2x plus 1 are my factors. All right, so that was two ways you could work it out. Hopefully you like one of those two ways and you don't have to work it out the other way. Just pick the one you like the best. Okay, so now let's look at some examples of grouping. If you have 4 or more terms, you have to use grouping. And so normally you can just make sure it's in standard form. So I have x cubed, x squared, x, and my constant term. So it's in standard form. Then group the first two and group the last two and start trying to take out the greatest common factor from each group. So in my first group, I can take out a 3x squared. And then I would have 4x left over because 3x squared times 4x is 12x cubed. So I'm just using greatest common factor right now. And then I would have minus 3. So 4x minus 3 is left over because those two expressions are equivalent. That's okay for me to write that. I haven't really changed anything. I just changed the way it looks. Okay, so then in the next group, I can't really take out anything from 4x minus 3. They don't have a common factor other than 1. So you do need to put a plus 1 out front and then just bring down the 4x minus 3. And then you take the two that you took out and put them together. So 3x squared plus 1 is one factor, and then 4x minus 3 is your other factor. So notice those match, but I only need to write one of them in my answer. Okay, so let's look at one more example of grouping. So again, 4 or more terms, make sure it's in standard form, and then group the first two and the last two terms. So in my first group, I can take out x squared, and I would have 3x minus 4 left over. And in the next group, the 9x minus 12, I can take out a 3, and I would have 3x minus 4 left over. So just put together the two terms you took out, those greatest common factors. So x squared plus 3. And then you just write down 3x minus 4 one time. You never write it twice, but you do want to make sure that those are matching in that step before your answer. Okay, so that's it for this video.